Hello friends. June 28, 1914. A 19-year-old student assassinated the Austro-Hungarian Archduke. And this one incident triggered a war. A war that lasted 4 years. A war in which more than 20 million people lost their lives. A war that ended several ancient empires. A war fought across multiple countries and continents. Today we know this war as World War I. Doesn't it sound sensational? That just one single event caused a war to break out across the world? But if we could go back in time, and somehow prevent this assassination, would there have been no world wars at all? The reality isn't that simple, friends. When such a large-scale war takes place, there is always a long and complex chain of reasons behind it. And then one incident acts as the spark. Think of it this way, imagine a mountain of dynamite. If I use just a tiny matchstick to blow it up, the massive explosion isn't because of the matchstick. It's because the mountain of dynamite was already there. So come in today's video, let's understand World War I. January 1916. 140,000 men were assembling for the attack. In 1914, Europe looked very different on the map. The Austro-Hungarian Empire stood at the center. Much larger than present-day Austria and Hungary. Germany's empire was also bigger than modern Germany. Poland did not exist as an independent country. There was the vast Russian Empire, and the Ottoman Empire, which covered modern-day Turkey and beyond. Alongside these were the United Kingdom and France. Most of Europe was ruled by monarchs. In fact, only 3 European countries were democracies then: France, Switzerland, and San Marino. Now let's not forget Eastern Europe. Countries like Serbia, Bosnia, Romania, and Bulgaria, together known as the Balkans. They are very important to our story. Our story begins in 1878. There was a war between the Russian Empire and the Ottoman Empire. The Russians supported the Balkan states in breaking away from Ottoman control. At the end of the war, the Treaty of Berlin 1878 was signed. According to it, Austria-Hungary was given the right to administer Bosnia-Herzegovina temporarily, while it officially remained under Ottoman rule. But in October 1908, Austria-Hungary formally annexed Bosnia-Herzegovina. They invaded and took control. Political cartoons from that time show the Ottoman Sultan helpless, while internal revolutions shook his empire. Meanwhile, Bulgaria declared full independence, and Emperor Franz Joseph of Austria was depicted as stealing Bosnia-Herzegovina. For Bosnians, this was infuriating. They had lived under Ottoman rule for 400 years, and instead of gaining independence, they found themselves under yet another empire. The Serbians were equally enraged. They shared not only geography with the Bosnians, but also ethnicity. Most Eastern Europeans were Slavs. Specifically, those in the Balkans called themselves South Slavs. Many dreamed of creating a united South Slavic nation, Yugoslavia. Austria-Hungary secretly reached out to Russia beforehand, asking them not to oppose the annexation. In return, Russia wanted something else: control over the Bosphorus and the Dardanelles, the narrow straits connecting the Black Sea to the Mediterranean. Initially, Russia agreed. But when Russian citizens, many of whom were Slavs, protested, the Russian government reversed its stance and began supporting Serbia. By 1909, tensions were so high that Austria-Hungary turned to Germany. "Will you back us if Russia intervenes?" they asked. Germany agreed. Russia then asked France for support. But France declined, saying Bosnia was not its concern. Without allies, Russia had to accept the annexation. For the time being, the threat of war faded. But then came June 28, 1914. Archduke Franz Ferdinand, heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, and his wife Sophie visited Sarajevo in Bosnia. 6 Bosnian revolutionaries plotted to assassinate him. The first attempt failed when a bomb bounced off his car, injuring 20 people. Later that day, as Ferdinand's car accidentally took a wrong turn, it stopped just 5 feet away from one of the conspirators, a 19-year-old student named Gavrilo Princip. He pulled out his gun, fired, and killed Ferdinand and Sophie. Princip was immediately arrested. Since he was under 20, he was spared the death penalty, and instead sentenced to 20 years in prison. During his trial, he declared himself a Yugoslav nationalist, fighting for the unification of South Slavs. The assassination enraged Austria-Hungary. They declared war on Serbia. Russia moved to defend Serbia. Germany moved to defend Austria-Hungary. France joined Russia and Serbia. Britain entered because of its alliance with France and Russia. The Ottoman Empire joined Germany and Austria-Hungary. Italy, though initially allied with Austria and Germany, refused to support them. And so began the Great War, World War I. Eventually, countries like the USA and Japan joined too. And colonies under European empires, like India under Britain, were dragged into the war, providing soldiers and resources. Now the big question: why were countries so eager to fight? Historians often point to four main reasons: nationalism, extreme pride in one's nation and contempt for others; imperialism, the scramble to conquer and exploit colonies; militarism, the arms race and glorification of military power; alliances, the complex web of treaties that dragged countries into conflict. For rulers, war was about pride, power, and resources. For common people, it was about survival. Many poor men became soldiers simply for wages. The rest were lured in by propaganda. Paintings, poems, and newspapers glorified war as noble and heroic. But the truth was different. Trenches, poisonous gas, mutilated bodies, endless bloodshed. This was the reality soldiers faced. Not everyone believed the propaganda. Socialists, anarchists, pacifists, and even some poets spoke against the war. Writers like Wilfred Owen and Thomas Hardy revealed its brutal truth. In some cases, soldiers themselves refused to fight. In 1914, during the Christmas truce, British and German soldiers came out of their trenches, sang carols, shared food, and even played football. Because deep down they had no real quarrel with each other. But commanders soon forced them back to war. World War I had begun. Its battles, aftermath, and legacy changed the world forever. We'll discuss what happened next, including the aftermath, the winners, and India's role in the war, in part 2 of this video. Thank you for watching, friends.